Dylan Wood. I'm a firefighter EMT here at Olson Army Ammunition Plant. Today we're going to be talking about fire extinguishers and their different classifications. So, introduction, I've already done that. Topic introduction, like I said, we're going to be talking about fire extinguishers and how to properly use them. Your psychomotor will be on how to use a Class C fire extinguisher. Our class objectives are to be able to identify the different classifications of fire extinguishers, and also we're going to go a little bit more in depth since we're all inspectors. We're going to talk about NFPA 10 just a little bit, talk about some things we look for whenever we're inspecting fire extinguishers. References, like I just said, is NFPA 10. Alright, so we're going to jump right into classifications of fire extinguishers. You're going to have letters that indicate the different class of fire for which the extinguisher can be used. So, number one is going to be a Class A. The most prominent, that's going to be your natural vegetation, household items, wood, furniture, things of that nature. And you also have Class B, which is going to be your flammable liquids such as gasoline, oil, diesel. Class C is going to be any kind of energized equipment. So take an oven, for example. It's energized, plugged into the wall. As long as the power's still on, we're still going to use a Class C fire extinguisher. Then you also got Class D, which is going to be your metal X extinguishers. And then you also have Class K, which is going to be used in your kitchens. There's also numbers indicated in the effectiveness of a Class A or a Class B extinguisher. Now keep in mind they test this for non-expert users. We are considered expert users when we are firefighters. So Class A, you're going to have a number of your letters, so it'll be Class A, and you'll have a number. So if it's Class A1, that means you're going to have 1.25 gallons of water in that side of that extinguisher. If it's a 2, you're going to have 2.5, and then if it's a 4, you're going to have 5. Most of them isn't any more than that. You may see a bigger one. Class B, though, is a little bit different. Instead of it being the gallonage of water or anything like that, it's going to be the effective area of a flammable liquid spill. So say if we have a Class B 10, that's going to be 10 square foot of flammable liquid. So we'll just use gasoline, for example, saying that that extinguisher can cover that 10-foot area. So here it is broken out again. Just like I said, the number is related to the amount of water. 1A contains equivalent to 1.25 gallons. 2A is going to be equivalent to 2.5 gallons. And 4A is going to be probably twice as much as a 2A, so around 5 gallons. Class B fire extinguishers, the number is based on approximate square feet of burning fuel. I'm saying 10B is going to be 10 square feet, and 40B is going to be around 40 square foot. Class C extinguishers, again, is going to be used for agents that do not conduct electricity. One of the most common is going to be carbon dioxide. A lot of the extinguishers that we have here in the plant are going to be A, B, C extinguishers, which means the agent inside of it is non-conductive and it works well with flammable liquids and it works well with normal combustion. So, just to go a little bit more in depth on some of the stuff that we do here, just a little refresher. NFPA 10 says that any extinguisher that is under 40 pounds can't be no higher than 5 foot and no lower than 4 inches to the ground. Any extinguisher that's over 40 pounds can be no higher than 4 foot and no lower than 40 inches to the ground. Just remember, when we're checking extinguishers, we want to check the seal. We want to check our charge. On all the ABCs, we have the charge gauge. We want to make sure that it is in the green. If it's in the red, we need to replace it, whether it's overcharged or recharged. We need to make sure there are pins in place, and then We also need to check our hydro date and the condition of the extinguisher itself. See if it's rusted, any parts are missing, anything of that nature. So, moving on, we're going to change over here. We're going to talk about the actual use of the fire extinguisher. So, this is going to be operated. Today we're going to be using a carbon dioxide extinguisher, which, like I said, is going to be a Class C extinguisher. This is just going through the basic steps on how to use the extinguisher itself. So, number one, the first thing we want to do is pull the pin. That's the most important step in order for it to work. Number two, we're going to remove the nozzle from the secured position. We're going to always aim it in an appropriate direction. We don't want to spray somebody with CO2. Could cause some burns from freezing, cause some other types of trauma, could also be disoriented to that person. So we don't want to cause any harm there. Number three, we want to give the trigger a quick squeeze. We want to ensure that the extinguisher is operational. As you're walking up to your fire, just quick little squeeze, make sure it's working, make sure everything's good to go. Four, we're going to approach the fire with the exit to your back. You never want to let the fire get between you and the exit. So if there's a fire in this room right now, and it was the TV, I do not want to approach it, and I do not want to get myself backed into a corner over here because my exit is out that way. Another thing too is whenever I go to leave, I do not want to, say if I'm spraying the fire here, I do not want to turn around and walk out. We want to back out slowly backwards and watch that fire and make sure it doesn't rekindle. Again, never ever let the fire get between you and the exit, especially when using the extinguisher. Really in any circumstance, anytime you're fighting any type of fire, you always want to have that exit route available. Number five, we're going to aim the nozzle of the fire extinguisher at the base of the fire and squeeze the trigger. Then we're going to sweep the extinguisher agent side to side, and then we're going to continue on the flames until we either A, put the fire out, or B, we run out of extinguishing agent. At that point, we're going to back away slowly, never turn our back to the fire, and leave the room or wherever we're at with the fire. So another thing to keep in mind, all those steps are all an acronym. It's going to be PASS. We pull the pin. We're going to aim, squeeze, and sweep. So if you can remember those, you'll be able to get through all 6 of these steps. And again, we're going to back away from the fire. Then we're going to overhaul the fire to ensure that it is completely extinguished. So in this picture here, he's fighting what looks like a stove fire. That's why he's using a Class C extinguisher. But say if we had the house de-energized, would we still use a Class C extinguisher? No, we wouldn't. We'd be using a Class A extinguisher because that's normal household items. The other thing to keep in mind is fire extinguishers are really good for the incipient stage of the fire. If we're arriving early, we're on duty, we're arriving early, one of these buildings out here has a microwave catch on fire, grab our Class C extinguisher off the apparatus, and we can put it out with a Class C extinguisher, no problem. Another thing that extinguishers are really good for that people do not often think about is overhaul. We could limit a lot of water damage by using an extinguisher in the overhaul process. So take this fire here. We was having to rip out, part of this stove. We're gonna make a mess anyways, but we could limit the water damage because we gotta think of the electrical behind the stove and things like that. We shouldn't be turning into that stove without the electrical cut or turned off. But this would help in the future if we're able to stop the fire and save the house or the kitchen. An electrician can come in and try to fix up the problem. So, have any questions so far?
You could use an ABC extinguisher too, correct?
Yes, you can still use an ABC extinguisher. So ABC is going to be all three classes. That's what most of the extinguishers we have here in the plant are, is ABC. We don't see very many CO2 extinguishers except for in electric rooms. That's usually where we see the Class C extinguisher for us. That ABC extinguisher has an agent in it that is non-conductive. That's why we use it on C. Overall, it's good for normal household items, wood, and then also the flammable liquids, which would be the Class B part. Whenever you do have that breakdown of the ABC extinguisher, you do also still have the number coordinating with it. So if it's like our small ABC extinguishers we have, it's probably an ABC 1 or an A1 B10C. So if you break that down, it's going to be about 1.25 gallons of water and about 10 square foot of area for flammable liquid. So, anything else? All right. So just keep in mind the PASS system. Whenever we go out to do our cyclomotor exam, we are going to take each one of these steps into consideration. You will be checked off on these. This does count for training for today for our shift, so it knocks that out of the park for our captain. So, any questions? All right. Carter, can you tell me what the PASS acronym stands for?
Pass, aim, squeeze, sweep. Or pulling.
Pull, not pass, pull.
I said
Pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. Tim, you know what the different classifications of the fire extinguisher are?
A, B, and C, and D. Okay.
What do they stand for?
A is for combustibles, B is for liquids, C is for energized, D is metals, K is for grease, kitchen.
Kitchen oil fire. And Scott, I'm gonna ask you one too. You remember what NFPA 10 says for the height of the extinguishers when they're hanging on the wall?
If it's more than 40 pounds,
They can't be
Can't
lower.
be-
I know they can't be lower than 4 feet.
4
inches.
Four inches,
4 inches from the
right.
ground.
If it's under 40, then it can be 5 feet and below,
Yeah.
and if it's
above
above
40,
40, it's 4
4
feet.
feet,
and
yeah.
below. And that's all in NFPA 10. Everything we talked about today is in NFPA 10, even down to how to use the extinguishers themselves is in NFPA 10. So, any questions? All right. Should be good to go. We'll go outside and we'll do our cyclomotor and then we'll go from there.
thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Alright, so before we head out, I wanted to bring some extinguishers in just to show you the difference. We don't have a Class C accessible here in the station, but we do have some out on the training field, so we'll go over those out there. But just some basic components. A lot of your extinguishers are going to be the same. So here we have our handle. It's where we squeeze. Here's where our pin is. There's our seal for our inspections. And then here's our nozzle. As you can see on this one's got an inspection tag. which, as we all know, every month we're going around and we're checking these and showing the proof that we did check off this extinguisher. Here's your gauge. You want to make sure that's in the green. If it's going to be on one side, it's going to be on the recharge side, and then on the left, it's going to be in the overcharge. In theory, if the extinguisher is overcharged, it should still work, but we want to be 100% sure, so make sure that they're in the green, especially on our inspections and whenever you grab one to use. So this one here is the water can, is what we like to call it. It's a Class A extinguisher. The only thing we carry in ours is water. Some other agencies will have foam introduced to these also, but this is a Class A extinguisher. One of the big things with these, you do not want to use these on any Class B fire or a Class C fire. Class B, say gasoline for example, if it's on fire, we're just going to spread that around even more. This water will mix with that gas, cause a bigger, it could cause a bigger fire or a more widespread fire. We could push the fire into something we don't want to. And then Class C, obviously water is a really, really good conductor. So if we spray any kind of electrical equipment with this, we have a really high chance to be electrocuted. So we don't want that to happen. Fill these up. Once it's expelled, there's no more pressure on it. We're simply just going to take a wrench and unscrew the top off. We're going to fill it back up with water to our desired amount. We'll throw the head back on, and then we'll unscrew this, and we'll use a air compressor to add pressure inside of this tank, so that way whenever we press the handle, the pressure will expel and will expel the water out of it. Most times when you use a water can, you're not going to get all the water out of the extinguisher. Because the pressure is going to run out before, the air pressure is going to run out before you run out of water usually. So this extinguisher here is what we see most of the time when we're doing our inspections. We actually got this one off of engine 1. So we carry, I'm sorry, I got this one off engine 1. This one comes from the cabinet, the storage cabinet, but on engine 1 and engine 2 we have ABC extinguishers. Just a little bit bigger than this. But one good thing you could notice on this, a lot of the components are the same as this water can, but this one has the pictograms with your classes. So this is an ABC extinguisher. So as you can see your blue picture, with the A, it's going to be a trash can with some wood on fire next to it, so to let you know, hey, this is for normal everyday items. Then you have B, it has a gasoline can. It's pouring over onto a fire, just to let you know that it also does flammable liquids. And then you have your Class C part of this, and is a cord coming out of the wall that's causing a spark, and there's your fire. So electricity doesn't burn. That's a big common myth, but electricity does cause that arc and that heat. And that is your spark for ignition to ignite the surrounding wall or the appliance itself that's plugged into the wall. So do we have any questions about these two extinguishers?
Is that one as easy, the ABC, is it as easy to fill as this one?
No, it is not. So whenever we use a class or any extinguisher that other than a water extinguisher or a water can, we send them off to another company. They will empty out the extinguisher. They will do an inspection inside and out. I know some places do like an x-ray of them. They're going to fill it back up with the dry chem or whatever extinguishing agent is inside, and then they're going to add their pressure back and then they'll ship it back to us. So a couple other things we won't go over before we go out in the training field is some safety aspects. We're going to be wearing full PPE today. What I mean by that, we're going to be wearing just pants, jacket, helmet. We don't have to wear an air pack. We're going to be outside, open atmosphere. we're going to be using the Class C extinguisher. We may also use an ABC extinguisher to put out some pallet fires also, so that way you can actually put out some fire after you get used to using the Class C, because it's the same concept. So we're going to use pass no matter what extinguisher you're using. So, any questions on extinguishers? Alright, so everybody get your gear and let's head outside.